The Hawthorne Hotel stood solemnly against the backdrop of a darkening sky, its once grand facade now draped in shadows and ivy. This imposing edifice, situated on the outskirts of a small, forgotten town, had long been abandoned, its legends whispered among the townsfolk with a mix of fear and fascination. The building, constructed in the late 1800s, was a testament to the opulence and grandeur of a bygone era, yet it now exuded an aura of malevolence, as if the walls themselves held captive the secrets of its sinister past. Years of neglect had left the hotel in a state of eerie disrepair. The grand entrance, with its towering double doors, was padlocked, the wood rotting and splintered. Weeds and overgrown bushes clawed at the structure, nature's attempt to reclaim what humanity had forsaken. The windows, once adorned with luxurious drapes, were now shattered and gaping, dark eyes peering out into the world, revealing nothing but darkness within. It was said that the Hawthorne Hotel was cursed, its doom sealed by a series of tragic events that had unfolded within its walls. The most infamous of these tales was the disappearance of the hotel's owner, Jonathan Hawthorne, and his entire family one stormy night over a century ago. Despite exhaustive searches, neither their bodies nor any clues were ever found. Since that night, those brave or foolish enough to venture into the hotel spoke of ghostly apparitions, unsettling noises, and an overwhelming sense of dread. On a particularly cold and moonless night, a sense of foreboding hung heavy in the air as the wind howled through the skeletal trees surrounding the hotel. A lone figure approached, driven by an insatiable curiosity that defied the instinct to flee from the haunted structure. The figure paused at the entrance, a flicker of hesitation crossing their mind before they breached the threshold, the padlock giving way with a rusty groan. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the stench of decay. The grand lobby, once a bustling hub of activity, lay silent and deserted. Faded wallpaper peeled from the walls, and the remnants of once exquisite furniture lay in disarray. An old chandelier, its crystals dulled by grime, hung precariously from the ceiling, swaying slightly as if disturbed by an unseen force. The figure moved cautiously through the lobby, each step echoing ominously in the vast emptiness. Their flashlight cast a feeble beam of light, revealing glimpses of the hotel's former glory now consumed by darkness and neglect. As they ascended the grand staircase, the air grew colder, a chill that seemed to seep into their very bones. The sensation of being watched intensified with each step, the shadows deepening as they climbed higher. Reaching the second floor, the figure found themselves in a long corridor lined with doors, each leading to a different room. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional creak of the floorboards beneath their feet. One door, slightly ajar, caught their attention. Pushing it open, they entered a once luxurious suite, now a decrepit shell of its former self. The remnants of a four-poster bed stood in the center, the canopy torn and hanging limply. A large mirror, cracked and clouded, hung on the wall, reflecting a distorted image of the room. As the figure approached the mirror, a cold draft swept through the room, carrying with it a faint whisper, almost indistinguishable from the wind. The temperature plummeted, and an overwhelming sense of unease settled over them. The reflection in the mirror seemed to shift, shadows twisting and contorting into vague shapes that resembled human figures. The figure turned away, but the sensation of being watched grew stronger, as if a multitude of eyes were fixed upon them. Leaving the suite, the figure continued down the corridor, the whispers growing louder, more insistent. They reached the end of the hallway and found another staircase leading to the third floor. Each step up felt like a descent into madness, the air heavy with an almost tangible malevolence. The third floor was darker, the flashlight struggling to penetrate the thick gloom. Here, the whispers became voices, indistinct yet filled with anguish and despair. The figure pressed on, drawn towards a door at the far end of the corridor. This door was different from the others, intricately carved with symbols that seemed to writhe and twist in the dim light. Pushing it open, they entered a room that felt different from the rest of the hotel, colder, darker, and more oppressive. In the center of the room stood a large, ornate table, covered in a thick layer of dust. Surrounding the table were chairs, each occupied by a shadowy figure, their faces obscured by darkness. The air was filled with a palpable sense of despair, and the whispers now became distinct words, echoing with sorrow and regret. The figure felt an overwhelming urge to flee, but their feet were rooted to the spot, as if held by an invisible force. Suddenly, the figures around the table began to move, their forms shifting and writhing. One by one, they turned towards the intruder, their eyes glowing with an eerie, unnatural light. The figure felt a surge of terror, the weight of the room pressing down upon them. The whispers grew louder, more frantic, as the shadowy figures rose from their seats and began to approach. In a desperate bid to escape, the figure turned and fled the room, the doors slamming shut behind them with a deafening crash. They raced down the corridor, the whispers now a cacophony of tortured voices. Reaching the staircase, they stumbled down, barely able to keep their balance. The hotel seemed to come alive around them, the walls closing in, the shadows reaching out with clawed hands. Bursting into the lobby, the figure made for the entrance, the sense of impending doom driving them forward. As they crossed the threshold and emerged into the cold night air, the voices ceased abruptly, leaving an oppressive silence in their wake. The figure turned back to the hotel, its dark silhouette looming against the starless sky. The sense of being watched lingered, a reminder of the horrors that lurked within. The townsfolk later spoke of the figure's ordeal, their tale adding to the already rich tapestry of legends surrounding the Hawthorne Hotel. Few dared to approach the cursed building after that night, the whispers of its dark history a constant reminder of the malevolent force that resided within. The hotel stood as a silent sentinel, its secrets buried within its walls, waiting for the next curious soul to venture into its shadowy embrace. The sense of dread that permeated the air around the Hawthorne Hotel remained, a testament to the horrors that lay within, unseen but ever present, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can linger in forgotten places.